I will be honest with you guys, everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Some people fail more often, some people fail less often, and this time I made the mistake to consider a specific car a bit worse than it actually is, in part due to the rush to create a proper video on time, but also because of my skills. Today I will be having a second look at the Leica Neon Edition after doing a ton of races with it on classic multiplayer, so let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I have to admit that I'm not completely sure if this car will feel exactly the same once this season overclock pass expired, since during these races I could only try the Leica Neon Edition in classic multiplayer with its overclock stats as a result of having the overclock pass boost turned on until, basically the end of this season, which doesn't allow me to remove the overclock boost from cars, as you guys can already understand. As far as I could tell during this second round of multiplayer races, the car feels quite good once you get used to it, and can really pack a punch in most of the Legends League multiplayer races, mostly due to its great top speed, which is quite decent for classic since it's slightly faster than the Rimac Nevera, but with a huge advantage that the Nevera lacks of, which is the floating capabilities, because as a quite similar car to the original W Motors Lycan Hypersport, it was obvious that the Neon edition of such a car would have floating capabilities up to a certain extent, but after doing many races with the Leica Neon Edition, the car feels like a more solid and compact version of the normal Leica, which makes it quite good at floaties, almost up to the level of the Ultima RS, or at least that was the vibe that it gave to me. Another thing where I was wrong about this car was its drift radius, because if it's true that it's not the same level of sharpness as the Devil 16 drift radius, this car has a quite sharp drift radius that makes it so satisfying to take corners with, especially in tracks like Osaka and Auckland. Sometimes it goes wider, but I think that's a problem related to my controller joystick more than with the car performance itself. The acceleration wasn't bad really, so I think that at these races you will be able to see that it does quite alright regarding this matter. Not gonna lie, it would be quite funny if the performance you are seeing in this video was all as a result of the overclock boost, and once it runs out the car goes back to like a bit worse, up to a point where I was right on my previous video and I'm wrong on this one instead, but hopefully that won't be the case. At the end of my previous video, all the races were done during the first Leica Neon Edition MP2, where everyone could test it completely maxed out for free, but without overclock boost, even if you had the pass, so maybe that's why the car felt slightly different while driving it back then. One way or another, the truth is that I will put this car at the level of the Rimac Nevera in terms of overall performance, because while the Nevera wins in terms of acceleration, the Leica Neon Edition has the floating capabilities and a bit sharper drift radius, I would say. Now that I think about it, it's true that the Nevera's Nitro Edition is still better than the Leica Neon Editions as well, but the difference ain't massive, so I wouldn't consider it as something that could put you on a struggle while using the Leica Neon Edition. Overall, it's a quite nice and competitive car, not insanely necessary to obtain if you have, the Nevera already, but credit given where credit is due. Having two good cars is always better than having just one, so I'm even happier for maxing out this Leica Neon Edition. However, nothing of all the stuff I mentioned before matters, since at the end you are pretty much doomed if a Devil 16 appears in your multiplayer lobby, regardless if you are using a Rimac Nevera, a Leica Neon Edition, or an overclocked Bugatti Chiron, except if you get a relatively short track where you could actually have a chance if the Devil, gets blocked at the beginning and that stuff. In all the other kinds of multiplayer game modes, well, everything is pretty much over from the very beginning if you face a Devil 16. I don't really think I could make a video diving deeper in all the changes the overclock introduced regarding multiplayer and if that truly poses a threat to the Devil 16 reign, but since I'm just chilling these days, I will think about it during the upcoming week, In other stuff, and while you look at the remaining Leica Neon Edition laps, I would like to announce that yesterday I finally got the final blueprints to 6-star my ATS Automobili GT through its special hand, and I would like to note that all what I did was to basically play the 5 stars stage, and I will be completely honest with you guys. Every 8 race, all what I used to get was between 1 and 3 blueprints on average. In one occasion I got the insane luck of getting 2 blueprints in one single race, and honestly that was so rare considering the horrible drops existing on this hunt that I took a screenshot just to keep it as, as an achievement. Look at it, I mean, it just feels like wrong, right? And that was at the last stage where blueprints could be obtained, because I have seen comments from my previous video of people who did like 60 and 70 races during the first stage, and all what they got was just 1 or 2 single blueprints of the ATS Automobili GT. The ongoing special hand drops are just far beyond my expectations when it comes about luck for real, because I would usually say that in most car hunts and these kind of events where you need tickets to play, it's just better to just wait your tokens on ticket refills, but not in this one, because on this ATS Automobili GT special hand, it's actually better to invest any tokens you will use on ticket refills in the token packs available in the shop, because the blueprints to tokens ratio is slightly better when you compare it to the first or the second stage of this special hand, which is quite crazy because it's literally the first time I saw something like this in Asphalt 9 Legends. Of course, you should only waste your tokens in this event if you are interested in unlocking the ATS Automobili GT, maybe because you need it for the Aston Martin Valkyrie Unleashed event, or just because you can afford wasting your tokens in such an useless car for collection purposes, or who knows, maybe because you like it. I don't judge on that though. But for real, what a crazy time to be an Asphalt 9 player, because beginners are lucky that they can just play the special hand until they get 130 career flags or something like that, because otherwise I could already imagine their reaction once they discover they have to do over 1000 races just to unlock a card that is not even a king. Now that I think about it, this king of drops would make perfect sense if the special hand card was the Hennessy Venom F5, maybe the Automobili Pininfarina Battista. Damn, even the Tempo ST1 Anniversary Edition could do the trick, and I'm sure that if such cards appear through a special hand, the current drops would be more than justified. But all these horrible drops for this ATS Automobili GT, man, I mean, it kind of feels like a bad joke. They better put this card in a new King special event as a requirement or something like that, because otherwise this will definitely be one of the worst cards where I willingly spend my cash on. But as the saying goes, it is what it is at the end of the day. Now it's your turn, guys. Did you try to unlock the Like a Neon edition through its key pack in the store, or you are not interested in going for it? How is your progress on the ongoing special hand? Let me know in the comment section, make sure to drop your like, and I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt 9 content. Goodbye, guys.